Hey Todd, what if anything changed with the World Junior guys to allow them to practice today, and just how did they look in their first session?
Well, one, they cleared protocol, so they were allowed into the practice facility and able to skate with us. Turcotte did not skate. He's got a lower body injury from the World Junior tournament, so he'll be out for a little bit. So Bjorn Foot, Kalev, and Artie, Quentin Byfield, all skated, and they were fine. They were excited. I think they're probably a little bit nervous. Usually they get to step into training camp with a lot of other junior faces, maybe some younger players they're familiar with. Here it's right in with Kopitar, Brown, Dowdy, veterans like that. So I'm sure there were some nerves, but they handled it very well. They weren't out of place.
So that was just them going through the normal quarantine period then that they finished up?
They got cleared through their protocol.
Okay. And then, Byfield on the fourth line, I mean, kind of how would you gauge the possibility of him maybe playing on Thursday, given some of the other, roster questions you guys are facing right now?
I can't, Jack. I couldn't even begin to think about answering that question properly. I don't know where we're going to be Thursday with bodies. I know somewhere during this interview, I'm going to get asked about where our roster stands and the taxi squad. It's in flux right now. So I apologize. I can't give you what you're looking for right now. It wouldn't be fair to you, your readers, or to Quentin or anybody in our organization.
No, understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next up is John Hoven.
Just as we get down to the final couple days here of camp, what, if anything, specifically are you still trying to work on and get accomplished, before Thursday?
Well, a lot of our game, we were able to take the video from our black and white inter squad game on Sunday, break it down, and look at areas where one, we were strong, and two, where we needed a little bit of work, and applied some of those things to practice today. Still a lot of work on power play and penalty kill. I think that will be a big part of success and failure throughout the season for all teams, not just the LA Kings. So we spent a lot of time there, but there's still areas of our game that we have to get to, and we got a couple more days to do that. It's a lot for new players to take in and comprehend, but I see the veteran players in a good spot with most of it.
And I know you don't want to commit, to actual roster decisions and whatnot for Thursday, but just conceptually, based upon some of your earlier comments, is it still fair to assume that you would more likely want to favor players, whether it be an Anderson, Dolan, or whoever, that have had a little bit of time in the organization, been exposed to the systems and whatnot, versus maybe putting somebody in there that, is new to the organization and has only had, 2 weeks or less with you at this point?
Well, I don't think, there's two different parts to that. When you talk about young and new to the organization, you can talk about the juniors that just jumped in today. They've got a lot to grab, and it may be unfair to them or us to throw them in right away, give them a few more skates, and then see where we go. New faces over and above that, whether it's Athanasiou and Elias Anderson's been here since the beginning of camp. Faces from the American League last year, we feel comfortable with those. Once we determine who's available to us, and that may not even happen until Thursday, then we'll pick the lineup for day one. We'll play for 60 or 65 minutes, whatever it takes, and reload the following day.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah.
Next up is Zach Dooley.
Hey, Todd, you talk about the potential comfort level of those three young guys coming in. Does a guy like Toby Bjornfoot, who's played a year in the organization and in the system in Ontario, kind of have a leg up in that regard?
Certainly he does. He's more comfortable with us. He knows his environment. He knows where he's going in the locker room. A lot of his teammates he understands. So I would think from a comfort level, he is further ahead than the others. He plays a different position than the others that just entered. So he's not necessarily competing with the younger players. He's competing with ones that have been here in training camp for 2 weeks now. But I see it in him. It's hard to believe they're all the same age, or relatively the same age, because Toby does carry himself like he has been around for a year, and he certainly has. So good for him.
And another guy we were given an update on was Marty Firk, a lower body injury. Are you able to disclose anything about that? And would you say he is still in contention or out of contention for opening night?
No, I don't see Turcotte or Marty being available on opening night.
Thanks, Todd.
Okay, next up is Patrick O'Neill.
Okay, I unmuted myself. Hi, Todd.
Hi, Pat.
Hi there. Can you tell me about Walker, McDermott, and Peterson, and when they will be fit to practice, and if they'll be ready to play on Thursday?
I can't because I don't know. They're unfit to play right now. I don't know when they will be fit. And as soon as they are fit, they're going to play. They're important pieces to our team. But right now, they're unfit to practice or be around our team. When that changes, there's people in different positions than me that will give me that information, and we'll take it from there.
Thank you for that. Regarding the challenges that this season and just this training camp for you, your entire staff, unlike anything you've ever been a part of, how would you assess the job that your entire staff has done? And has there been any discussion with your players regarding what to do, what not to do, or do you just treat them like grown-ups that they are and expect that they do the right thing to keep everybody safe?
Well, the first part of your question, as far as pulling training camp off, our people have done an outstanding job. And I'm not talking about the coaches. There's so many more people involved in the organization. Chris Kingsley, first of all, is the medical trainer to position us so that we can do what we want to do each and every day. The doctors, the training, or the equipment staff and the cleaning staff in our building and facility, security, you name it. There's so many things that go into us just getting on the ice. And then over and above that, the players have been really good. They're taking care of each other. There hasn't been a lack of awareness when it comes to the pandemic. Everybody is taking care of each other, and it's really nice to see. I think there's a sense of team building when it comes to that. Have we given them direction? Yeah, they need direction. They need to know when they're supposed to test, where they're supposed to go to do it, how they do it, what it's going to be like to come to Staples Center on Thursday. We went through that on Saturday. We've talked about what potentially some other pro teams where they've discovered that some problems exist, whether it's basketball, football, baseball when they started, what led to problems within the organization with the pandemic. So we've mentioned some things to them about that, just so that they can be aware of it. But our guys really have done a good job. You think of how severe the germ is right now, and I'm proud of what our group has done to this point.
Thanks very much, and good luck with all of that.
Thank you.
Next up is Lisa Dillman.
Todd, regarding Martin Firk, was he injured in a specific play in the scrimmage on Saturday, or had he been carrying something else into that game?
No, he was injured in the inter squad.
Okay. And secondly, is there a minimum amount of time according to the protocol that these players would be unavailable to you, like dating back from whether it was Friday or Saturday? Is there a minimum number of days?
Again, Lisa, you know what? One of the things that I've decided is that I'm not going to really get overly involved in the days and the testing and all that type of stuff. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to worry about what we're doing on the ice and have experts come and tell me on a daily basis, this guy's available, this guy isn't. And I would probably give you the wrong information if I began to guess. So I just listen to the experts. Whatever they tell us to do, we do.
If I could ask one more thing, how familiar are you with Troy? I mean, he's obviously one of the two goaltenders out there today, so I guess we should ask about him.
Well, go back to San Jose days.
Yeah.
I was there when he played his first game in Carolina. Our team was not very good that night. The goaltender was outstanding. I recall him being first star. I know his parents were at the game. I almost think it was a shutout. If it wasn't, it was a 50 save night. And he was really good. He didn't spend a lot of time with us with the Sharks. He was in Worcester and the farm team a little bit more, but mature, solid goaltender, knows where he's at. There's no nerves or anxiousness coming into a pro camp. So he's the perfect number 3 right now.
Thank you.
Next up is Joe Reedy.
Hey Todd, as far as the 3 young guys skating today, could you tell that their fitness and conditioning level was up with maybe some of the prospects who were skating overseas at the beginning of camp?
Well, they fit well in practice today. They weren't dragging their butts. They weren't behind anything. I don't see any issues with fitness or conditioning. The pace always goes up a little bit when you get to the NHL level, and we had a practice with a fair amount of tempo in it today, so they fit in really well. We have to keep in mind that these guys now haven't played since I don't know what it was, 5-6 days ago now, and that is a long time for a hockey player to be off during the winter, or pardon me, during the season without any type of activity. So I'm sure their legs probably didn't feel as good as they did 7 days ago when they were playing in gold medal games. But by tomorrow, they should be up and running and feel real good.
And then just as far as this training camp, as far as trying to get everything in and stuff, is it more hectic maybe compared to post lockout trying to get up and running for a season?
Well, lockout, that was quite a few years ago now. As we were coming out of some of these lockouts, our teams were maybe in a different situation, maybe a little more mature, had been together as a group longer than 1 year. In our situation here in LA, coaching staff, players, it's only been 70 games together. So we're still figuring each other out. But I feel good with the veterans and their understanding of how and why. The new players are coming along quite quickly, which is nice. The oddness of it is that there are not any exhibition games to evaluate on. We just keep playing against each other in scrimmage situations, practice situations. It's hard with video to get their attention to go to one spot when all the players look familiar. But we've been able to do it, and we're no different than any other team in the league.
Okay, thanks.
Next up is Daryl Evans.
Hi, Coach. How was the energy level today after the guys having a day off and kind of getting ready now for the home stretch?
It was good. I think they're excited. They're anxious to get playing again. They're probably getting tired of practicing. But the off day usually does wonders. The guys come back hungry. They're more attentive. Often ragged at practice to start. Passes are off a little bit, but within 10, 15 minutes, they're going. And our guys did that. They were clean by the end and had a lot of energy today, which is a good sign.
And do you feel that tomorrow will kind of be that day that kind of separates everything from, let's say, training camp as opposed to preparing for that first game?
It almost feels like we've separated already, but the influx of different players is taking us back. I don't know if I answered that question properly, but it feels like we had separation and now we're bringing new and younger players back in and having to get them up to speed. But we all know what Thursday stands for. We all know there's an important game coming up and many games coming up. There's an excitement that you can feel building towards that. Clarifying who will be playing and who will be playing with who. I think players want that in advance. But because of the strange season, we may not have that. We may just have to react.
Do you think that that's something maybe internally that you guys might be able to communicate amongst each other tomorrow in preparation to get those guys kind of, like you say, in that mindset to know who they're going to be with?
We're trying to do that now. And again, there's different scenarios. There's the scenario if everybody's available. Here's probably what it's going to look like. What happens if we get these guys back? What happens if we only get one back? Too many situations, too many variables to lay it all out. tried to keep guys in pairs together as much as we possibly can. And I think those groups are comfortable, but as I mentioned, we're not going to be the only team that's going through this, and we better be able to gel and change on the fly quickly.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, we've got just a couple left here. Going back to John Hoven. Oh, nope, doesn't look like he has a question anymore. Going back to Jack Harris.
Hey, Todd, we haven't talked a lot about Mark Alt this camp, but just how has he fit in with you guys, and have him and Kale made a pairing that, you know, if they're needed to play, you feel comfortable with?
I think any pairing we're comfortable with right now. If you're one of the 8 or 9 that are in consideration, we feel comfortable about all of them. The one thing that Alt has is some experience in the league. A low panic point. He's defends fairly well. He's been used to playing in the National League, going up and down. So his experience gives him some cachet with the group. And I found him to be very coachable and asking some important questions. So that lends a little confidence to the situation as well.
And then of all the prospects who aren't with you guys anymore from Saturday, did any of them join that unfit category, or were they all just reassigned?
No, they're still part of our camp. They're just working in a different group. I believe we're still in the NHL training camp mode. For the most part, I think we had a goaltender that was deemed unfit to practice or to play from the B group or the non-NHL group right now.
And then who's your guys' designated contact tracing officer?
You know what? Again, it's not anything that I need to know. It's not something that I asked. I know who the assistant coaches are, and I know what we're supposed to be doing as coaches. That's it. If something occurs, there's people that have been having meetings and planning all these things and doing contact tracing. So I'm the wrong guy to ask that question to.
It sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're going to finish it up here with Steve Milton.
Hey, Todd, a lot of interest here in Hamilton about Cali. Is the World Juniors enough to give you a read on where and if any improvement he's had?
You know what? I think it helps. I see a better skater with World Juniors. If I compare last year to this year, I see stronger, fitter, a better engine, something that goes a little longer at high end. The shot, the ability to shoot it, the ability to score is his calling card. It's always been, and that continues to be good. But thought as the World Junior Tournament built, he got better. He created opportunities for his teammates with forechecks, knocking people off the puck, protecting it. His work away from the puck has improved, where he understands the importance of it. So I would say that he has improved just on the U.S. viewings of the World Junior.